Hello friends, my name is Dr. Jigisha Singh and in this video I'm going to discuss two cases on offer and acceptance. Well, under the Indian Contract Act 1872, before I proceed with the case, I would like to mention here that the person whose legal right is infringed is the plaintiff and the other party is the defendant. Appeal is filed by the one party who loses and he is the appellant and the other party is the respondent. The case in question here is Carlyle versus Carbolic Smokeball Company, whose citation is 1893 1 QB 256 CA. Well, in the given case, Carlyle was the plaintiff and Carbolic Smokeball Company was the defendant. Appeal was filed by Carbolic Smokeball Company as it lost in the original suit. Facts of the case are the Carbolic Smokeball Company manufactured a product called Smokeball, which it claimed could prevent influenza. The company placed a newspaper advertisement stating that it would pay £100 to anyone who used the smoke ball as directed and still contracted influenza. The advertisement also stated that £1,000 had been deposited in the bank to show sincerity. Carlyle purchased the smoke ball and used it according to the instructions. However, she contracted influenza. She claimed £100 reward, but the company refused to pay. Carlyle sued the company. The company lost at first instance. The company appealed to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal unanimously dismissed the appeal and held in favor of Carlyle. The company argued the advertisement was not a serious offer. It was merely a sales puff. There was no formal acceptance or contract. No notice of acceptance had been given to the company. So we can mention the legal issues as: was the advertisement a serious offer or mere sales puff? Was it an offer to the world capable of acceptance by anyone? Was communication of acceptance required? Was there consideration? Was the contract too vague to be enforceable? Well, as far as court's reasoning to these legal issues, the first being advertisement as a valid offer, the company argued the advertisement was mere puff and not intended to be binding. The court disagreed. The statement that £1,000 have been deposited in the bank demonstrated seriousness. Therefore, the advertisement was a definite offer and not mere marketing exaggeration. Next being offer to the world. The court held an offer can be made to the world at large. It becomes binding upon performance by any person who fulfills the conditions. This created a unilateral contract, a promise in exchange for an act. Next being acceptance without notification. The company argued that there was no contract between Carlyle and company as Carlyle did not notify them of acceptance. The court held in unilateral contracts acceptance occurs through performance. The offer itself implied that performance was sufficient. Next issue was consideration. The court found consideration in Carlyle's purchase of the smoke ball, her use of it as directed, the benefit gained by the company through increased sales. Next issue was certainty. The company argued that advertisement was too vague. The court held the terms were sufficiently clear. It even mentioned the use 3 times daily for 2 weeks. Therefore, it was enforceable. The Court of Appeal the final decision of the court was the Court of Appeal dismissed the appeal, held that a binding contract existed, ordered the company to pay £100 to Carlyle. The next case is Bhagwan Das Kedia versus Girdhari Lal and Company, 1966, 1 SCR 656. In this case, first party is the defendant, who is the acceptor, seller, who communicated acceptance from Kamgaon. Second party is the plaintiff, who is the purchaser, the offerer from Ahmedabad. Contract pertains to sale and purchase of goods. There was a breach of contract. Plaintiff filed a suit in the court of Ahmedabad. Defendant raised questions with regard to jurisdiction. If the court had no jurisdiction, the judgment is null and void. Objection of jurisdiction should be taken at the earliest. Sole question of law involved was whether the court of Ahmedabad had jurisdiction or not. Ahmedabad suited plaintiff and Khamgaon suited defendant. Supreme Court, High Court and lower court favored the plaintiff. Jurisdiction is determined by the place where the contract comes into existence, and that happens where the communication of acceptance is complete as against the offerer. If the communication is direct, then communication is complete for the offerer at the place where it is clearly heard by him. The question was whether communication through phone is direct or indirect. There is a simple rule. In case of direct communication, the place of contract is the place of offerer always. In where the communication is indirect, it is the place of acceptor always. Section 3 of the Indian Contract Act deals with direct communication and Section 4 deals with indirect communication. In 1872, telephone was not invented. Therefore, to the legislature, telephone, a mode of communication, was not known. If the legislature knew about it, it would have made provisions regarding the same. Where the Indian Contract Act is silent or is capable of dual interpretation, the Indian courts are free to take help of the law of UK. The reason is obvious. The law is borrowed from the law of UK. Court is justified in taking assistance provided the statute is silent or is capable of dual interpretation. In UK, before, there was a case, Entor's case, in which the House of Lords had decided teleprinter and telephone is direct and not indirect. Well, in the given case of Bhagwan Das Kidia, there was a breach. The defendants allegedly failed to perform their part of contract. The plaintiff sued for damages in the Ahmedabad court. The defendants objected to the suit on the ground that the contract was complete in Kamgaon, where acceptance was spoken. Therefore, only Kamgaon courts had jurisdiction. The plaintiff argued the contract was completed at Ahmedabad, where acceptance was heard. Here, Ahmedabad, hence Ahmedabad courts has jurisdiction. The matter ultimately reached the Supreme Court of India. The issues were: where is a contract made when acceptance is communicated via telephone, at the place where acceptance is spoken or at the place where acceptance is heard? Does the postal rule apply to telephonic communication? Which court had territorial jurisdiction, Kamgaon or Ahmedabad? The majority decision of the Supreme Court was telephone contracts are completed where acceptance is heard. A contract by telephone is complete at a place where the acceptance is heard or received. Since the plaintiff heard the acceptance in Ahmedabad, the contract was concluded there. Therefore, Ahmedabad court has jurisdiction. Postal rule does not apply in case of telephonic communication because telephonic communication are instantaneous as against postal communications in which there is a time gap between sending and receiving the communication. In instantaneous modes of communication, a contract is made at a place where this acceptance is received by the offerer. The court held that the case was correctly filed in the court of Ahmedabad. With this, I conclude the lecture. In the next video, I will be discussing about what agreements are contracts. Thank you.